Hey guys, welcome back to Buster's Corner. We're doing a setup training session this morning,
One of the guys from VRS was in a
and I
session
got
last night,
guys in
and
the
he was
room
41
talking,
vibes, and I was at
and
what I
that's
just said.
Marty.
And he's like, Martin, what's going on here? Why can't I get this?
And
I said,
so,
well, what setup are you using? Oh, it's
how
one
do
I had from
I?
3 months ago.
How do I? There we go. Mute Marty. Okay, so we're doing the setup training room here this morning at Las Vegas, and we're just going through the process of of setting the car up. And this is kind of the worksheet I work off of, and I'll be working with that today. So this will be hopefully no more than 1 hour, so it doesn't drive you guys too crazy. Let's see if we can get started here. Okay, is everybody in that need to get in?
I'm loading up right
Almost.
now.
I got about 25-30% left to load.
Oh, that's fine, no hurry. And you guys should be able to see my screen on Discord.
Yep.
Okay, good. So this list I have up here on Discord, this was the original list I worked off of for a long time ago, and I made some changes to it, and something that Tom brought up and Tim brought up last week. In the first part of this, we're doing our spring race ride heights, ARB preload. I added nose weight. We need to put that into our process of our what I call the rotation process is what we're working on. Um, so I've changed that a little bit right there, and I have a copy of this over in the classroom stuff if you want to print that out or save it. Okay, so we got 5 guys in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we're missing 2. If you guys are just joining, the password is 7223.
All right, I'm in the session.
2, 3, 4, 5. Mike, Martin, Bob.
If somebody misses a session, is this going to be on YouTube for them to watch as they catch up?
Yeah, I'm trying to record this here this morning. That's why we only got 1 hour to play around here. But we really shouldn't need much more than an hour here to get where we need to go with this. And then maybe we'll do another one. I'm thinking maybe Thursday night, 6 o'clock West Coast. Maybe we might do another one to finish it up. Okay, we can start with. Oh, somebody talking? Nope, we're all good. Okay, so
I
everybody should.
was needing another password. I'm sorry.
There's 7223.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can kind of get started here a little bit. Everybody should have the S1 Vegas RV 1.3.
Yeah, I got it.
10-4.
Okay, so we need to make a couple changes before we even get started. Last session, we saw that we were out of gear already. So let's go ahead and move that gear to a 3.903. Okay, let's see. We're still waiting for 2 more guys to pop in here. Here they come. And I want to show you something else here. I put this in the classroom folder as well. This is the VRS. I found this on the internet. Keegan Lee, I don't know what his
Yeah, Leahy.
Leahy? Okay. So I was just looking for cheat sheets, and somebody had put one on our channel earlier from CG, and I couldn't find it to repost it. But I came across this one right here, and the cool thing I like about this is, let's say up on top left, car is too tight to make it looser, and the first thing it has there, move the ballast, raise some track bars, and some of it doesn't pertain. We don't have track bars, lower cross weight, but then he says may need to tighten the center exit to compensate. Okay, so if I get my loose in, I may have issues on my center to exit. Okay, I didn't really think about that. And as I go down this list right here, the next one on the center, stiffen left rear spring, soften right rear spring if off throttle, and lower the cross weight. So he gives you stuff, and then he says, okay, if you do this, you may have side effects over here on the other side of the turn. I thought that was really cool, so that's what that's up there for.
Yeah, I think I like how he puts it in layman's terms more than the other one I had posted that you had mentioned about.
Oh, can you repost that one up there for me later in the classroom? I like that. I use
Yep.
that one. I have it. But you're right. The CG one tells me things I can adjust. But he's saying, okay, if you do this, you're going to have an issue over here. So, be aware of that. Yeah, it's excellent. Okay, is everybody in? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, we got 8 people. Okay, let's get going. All right, so get rid of this. All right, 1.3 is what we're working on. Everybody, so we're changing the rear gear to a 3.90. Here's another problem I came across when I was playing this a little bit, and that's your right front camber is what, like 5.6? It's a huge number. And Iracing is Matt's doing this over here, where they're increasing that right front camber to a huge number. I'm finding a high camber number is hurting this car. And then we're relying on that high right front camber to rotate the car. So as our tire wears out, the camber wears out. So for this test here this morning, and really all we're working on, just to be clear, we're working on ride heights and springs. Ride heights, rotation, that bundle right there. So if you will, everybody take that right front camber, and we're going to move that down to a 4.4. And
Negative.
Yeah. Okay, so the right front camber should be negative 4.4, caster should be 10.6, and ride height shock collar is 3.625. After you get all that, save that as 1.4.
Says my ARB's too high.
Okay, my ARB is a negative 3.0. Is it not coming in?
What would you have your toe at? The toe changed on mine. I'm trying to figure out where it was.
It don't matter. I got them both either 0 or negative 1, somewhere right in there.
So I made the gear change, and then I made the right front camber to negative 4.4. And then you said move the shock collar offset, correct?
Yeah, make sure your caster stays at 10.6, and then shock collar offset is 3.625.
It's not even letting me get to 10.6. It lets me put my caster at 10.5.
That's okay. Leave it at 10.5 and go do your shock collar. I think it'll pop it in there. Shock collar 3.625.
Yep, it still fails. That's weird.
Where are you failing at?
It says the ARB preload, the right front or front ARB. It says the ARB preload is too high.
Okay, I just shared 1.4 if it's not working for anybody.
Yeah, you had to manually readjust
That's
the
weird.
ARB numbers.
Much appreciated.
Okay, Now everybody has 1.4. Go out and run your 5 laps. Get a feel for the car. It don't matter if you're drafting or not. We just want to feel what the car's doing and decide what it needs. Okay, so this is the boring part of the video. Everybody's gonna run 5 laps. So, if you want to, you can go ahead and fast forward the tape until you see the garage screen come back up again, or you can sit and listen. We're just trying to get a feel for the car now and decide what it needs. Oh, and make sure your telemetry's on for your Motec. So that 2. Yeah, last week we were hitting the chip on this setup. The stock setup is almost a half a second slower than what we're doing right now. So I guess as soon as your delta bars turns red, that's enough. And we'll park it and go to the garage. Somebody just went out. Michael Simmons. Okay, Michael Simmons just went out. So, we have a little bit of a delay of game here, but that's okay. Let's check our recording. Everything's recording fine. Good. You guys are live there. All right. Who's doing a 5? Who's fastest? I was first, wasn't I? Oh, look at him. Killing him. I'm killing him. Not fair. I had a little practice this morning before they got in here. All right. So, we are going to let everybody finish for 5 laps. There's Derek. Marty's going. Byron McDonald's going. Simmons. Where's Tom?
Martin, I'm pitting here and just a heads up.
Tom, did you run your laps? Oh, looks like we lost Tom.
There I am. So I missed last week, so I don't have my spring setup. I didn't want to wreck anybody bringing out a new setup. So keep going. I'm just watching.
Did you get the adjustments or version 1.4?
I haven't downloaded anything.
Okay, 1.4 is up there shared.
All right. Keep going.
Michael's still out. We'll give him a few minutes to finish up his laps before we get started.
Sorry, I'm slow.
That's all right.
I'm ready whenever. I was my first session. I had a dog in my lap. It didn't work too good.
we're just getting a feel for it, Mike, to see what the car feels like in your steering wheel, whether it's loose, tight, um, is what we're kind of looking to get the feel of.
For me, it's loose off, coming off.
All right.
Right off the bat for me, corner entry got tight.
All right. You can just lock up the brakes there, Mike, and exit the car instead of go down pit road. Thank you. Your pit guys aren't going to miss you. Okay, let's pull up my Motec, and you should be able to see my screen here. And I think there's a way to make this screen big on your guys' side.
Yeah, you can full screen it.
Nice.
Okay, so what am I looking at when I build the setup? So right now we're looking at ride height. Okay, let's see. Let's back up here a little bit. So let's see. You guys said you're tight in and loose off. Is that the consensus?
No, I was tight everywhere. It started out tight and got even worse.
I felt
Yeah, I'd agree with
loose
that.
on exit, but it wasn't too loose that I wanted to change it. I actually used the rotation. I felt like to get off the corner exit and put power back down.
Okay. I was tight all the way around. I think that was consensus mostly. And it's gonna be different for each. It's really gonna be different for each of us, depending on what wheel you got and stuff like that. So, kind of looking for an average here, and kind of what I would do. So let's go look at our ride heights first here, and see how bad off we are. So in turn one, where am I at? Looking at the front, I got a 44 on the left and a 62 on the right. So that's okay. The rear, I got a 59 and a 1. So obviously this car is way too high. And here's on the other side, I got 58, 42. Yeah, we're way too high here. This car needs to drop like a rock. So let's do some changes here. Let's go. Anybody got a spring choice? What do you think? So we're tight all the way around. First thing, let's do this. Let's go. Let's deattach these bars. I see our cross is at 59 up there, so that's way too much. But let's drop this car. I'm gonna go. So you guys should be in the garage doing the same thing here. So I took off my bars, and I'm gonna go 3 down on all 4 corners. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So
That's on the shock collar, correct?
yeah, shock collar down, which is the right side button, down 3 clicks all the way around.
Ten four.
As far as my
Hold on 1 second there, Bob. I just want to add in there, at least for me, when I adjust those heights with the shock collar, I actually pay attention to the ride height numbers. I'm doing those clicks, not so much the shock collar, primarily, because I know there might be some people that don't do it like that.
right, because they don't all adjust the same amount.
Right.
Right. So for now, we're just kind of roughing this in, trying to get it closer, if you will, because I know we're off by a lot. So I'm kind of taking big swings. But once you get it dialed into where you're looking for a tenth here or a tenth there, then yeah, Tom's right. You need to go back and define that more. Okay, so for now, I'm just trying to get this car lowered down. The other thing I'm looking at cross height 58.6, so we know that's way too high. So we can definitely drop that just off the bat here. Let's just go. So those that don't know, to lower the car, to lower the cross weight, you're gonna go left, right. Okay, so we're gonna go up, up 1, down 1 on the right rear, down 1 on the right front. And you go back up and look, that put you to a 57.6.
And what was those on again?
Left front, let's see, left front up 1, right rear up, well, let's see. Let me do it this way. Left front shock collar should be 4.891. The right front should be 3.688. Your left rear shock collar is 4.406. And the right rear is 3.359. Okay, we're going to reattach the bars in the front and the back. And I pretty much try and keep these as close to 0 as possible. Maybe even on the plus side. Oops, that's too much. 31's too much. 2.8 is probably pretty. I'm going to leave the front at a 14. Apply. I'm going to apply the back one. And I'm going to bring that down as close to 0 being on the positive. That's a 7. Double check the front. Can I go lower? Nope. Okay, and I'm going to save this as 1.5.
Can you share that?
Yeah. There you go. There's 1.5. Okay, so let's go try that again. So we loosened it up a little bit with our cross weight. We dropped it down a little bit. And we want to keep dropping this car down until she starts scraping the ground, and we'll bring it back up. The higher the car is, then it really messes up our COG. Actually, wait a second. Before you go driving, hold on. Let's go back here to Tom's thing here. Where's the garage? Right here. So right now, when we just ran, our COG is minus 2.1 and minus 2.2. So this is in next gen, and it's the garage tab on the far right is what we're looking at. So when we come back in, we'll take a look. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. All right, go run your 5 laps. Come back and see what she feels like. After this run, you may want to change your steering box ratios up there, to fit your gear. Boy, I think I'm really liking the corner exit there.
You're really smooth out of 4.
Still super tight in the center.
I'm hitting the red on the rev limiter. There's just something you need to assign to your buttons on the chat channel down there. You see what I put up there? Gotta have that one for Daytona, don't you, buddy? I'm just telling you. Finger out the window.
Uh-huh.
Soften up these springs.
So weirdly enough, I was only getting tight in 3 and 4.
That's where I was
Two was
super
actually
tight,
really
3 and
good.
4. Yeah, me too.
I would concur with that. Okay, everybody in?
I'm on my last lap.
All right.
I stepped on it coming out of 4 first run.
Okay, let's go to Motec. Okay, so we're back in Motec. All right, so the car is drivable, which is a big plus, right? As we go forward here, it's drivable. We got the issue. I agree with the tight out of 4. So in Motec here, I look at this some more, and still in turn 1, we're still too high. This car is still way too high. So we have the choice to we can lower some springs, or we can change some ride heights. I think with the tight condition we have, I think we'd like to lower some springs here if we can. Um, and something with the crossweight. Let's just see here, just for kicks. What was our? Go back to the garage. 2.1, 2.2. We did not change our COG on that. Huh, I'm surprised. Because we didn't do enough to it. All right. So let's go back to our garage. And so we're too tight. We know that. But also, let's see if we can do something with these springs to free us up a little bit.
Yeah, 46 in the right front's pretty high, it looks like.
Yeah, it sure is, isn't it? So if we lower the right front spring, that should make us tighter on entry. But you know what? I concur. Let's get off that 4600. That's way too high. All right, so let's take our bars off. Take the bars off. Take some more big swings here. Let's bring this down to, let's go to 1000 split. Let's go to 44. Our right height is 1327. So I'm going to take us to 44. Apply. 1327. Rate this back up somewhere close. It's a 1331 now. That's fine. But I also want to do something with these rear springs. And we're tight in the middle, so I want to, and I'm going to use my VRS cheat sheet here and see what he says. He says we're tight in the middle, soften the left rear spring, and stiffen the right rear spring if on throttle. Stiffen the left rear spring and soften the right rear spring if off throttle. I think we're tight on entry, aren't we? We tight on it? No, we're tight in the middle there, huh? I'm going to...
Maybe more exit than entry.
More exit. We're tight.
Center off. Basically getting back on the throttle.
Yeah. All right. Let's increase the split in the back. Okay, so I'm going to take my left rear. Right height is a 902. I'm going to drop this by 100. 902. I'm going to go down to 100. Apply. Bring it back up to my 902. It's going to be 905 now. That might be enough, but you know what? Oh, I'm going to take this right rear. Right rear is at 2010. I'm gonna bring this down to 2400. 2010. Bring that back up to a 2017. All right. Everybody on page so far? Anybody have issues? Nope. Okay. Now we know this peg is still too high. I'm going to take all four corners and drop it down 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Apply. Okay. Now put my bars back on. Bring it down close to 0 as possible while still being on the plus. Oops, I'll go with plus 16 up there. Attach the back. That's a plus 7.6, that's fine. And a plus 13, we're at 57.6. I still think that nose weight's too high, but we'll come back to that later. I'm going to say this is 1.6.
You share that as well.
Yeah. There you go, there's 1.6. All right, go do it again. You can move those toes to either a -1 or a 0. It's really not going to matter much, but if it drives you crazy, you can move them. Tight on entry. Are you feeling that tight on entry?
Yeah.
Okay, so that tight on entry is because we closed up the split in the front, and that gave us the tight on entry. So we probably need to drop that left front spring.
Actually, I think that was just cold tires for me. Feels a lot better out on the second lap.
Well, actually, that also opens up the availability now to drop that nose weight off that 51.9. And that'll also free us up on entry. And that's probably a better plan at this point.
Yeah, I noticed it more in turn 3, entering turn 3. Turn 1's not near as bad. You kind of point it that way. Turn 3 did 1 point.
Of course, I'm usually a pretty conservative entry kind of guy.
Okay, we know what she needs. Hasn't changed a bit.
I'd say it still needs to rotate a bunch. It's still tight for me.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely tight. It's yeah.
Okay. Just feedback.
No, thanks. But don't you like the tight car, Mike? You don't like them when they get too loose on you.
Well, yeah, but there's got to be some rotation too.
Okay, I'm in the Motec, and I've loaded that last lap that I ran. And so what are we looking at here? Just real quick, show you guys if you didn't see this last week. So on this middle part of the screen, see here my left front is at a negative 0.04. So we're actually hitting the ground now. Yeah, we're hitting the ground. So if I put my cursor right there on that 0.04, you'll see the blue line in the middle of the screen. You can take your right and left arrow buttons and move that line to where that blue line is. Right there. That's where she hit negative 0.04 in that corner right there on corner exit. Why is that front dip down so low? All right, well, the back's still too high. But yeah, I can hear this car scraping down on the ground.
Well, you lower the overall on that last move, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mine was a .06 there, and it was like center of one, like where you are now.
Yeah, I have a .08.
All right. So some of that could probably come out with shocks, but less. Well, we want to move some weight back on this to free it up a little bit more. Okay. If we get some weight back, it should pick up the front. All right, so nose weight, 51.9. If we more nose weight, it's going to get tight. So we want less nose weight. Let's bring us down to, well, let's go with 51.5. I'll go to 51.
It's not letting me take it down. 51.7 is the lowest I can go.
Just keep hitting it. You can't read the numbers as you're clicking. It's a glitch. You have to hit it like 10 times.
You got to push apply.
But when you click it, it'll say 51.9, and you'll click it, and it'll say 49.6, and you'll
Yeah, I see it
press
changing
apply, and it
now.
only goes a tenth. You just ignore what it's showing you until you hit apply.
Okay, so 2.7. So we took some weight off the nose. That might fix the bottoming out problem we have down there, and that should fix our corner entry, I hope. All right, go run a few laps, see what happens.
Save it as 1.7.
Yes, sir, 1.7.
Yeah, I'm used to doing the ballast, and when you click it and it says that it's a 49.5, it's 49.5. But with this next gen car, what it shows when you're clicking is irrelevant. It's almost like it brings down a tenth every click.
Ah, that makes sense.
If it ain't one glitch, it's another. I'm glad I got rid of that fuel announcement when you're exiting your pits. You have 1 gallon.
Oh, right? Yeah, that was annoying as hell.
I get it now when I start a race. Just as I'm about to, roll off, it'll say, okay, pit this time.
Now for me, it's been saying like, oh, we need to get field data or something, run a couple laps. So at least that's a little bit better.
Yeah, if you don't run it in practice of an official, then you run the risk of your fuel being off. Unless you have like race labs or something like that, which most people do.
Miller's in the wall. I didn't touch him.
I got back on the gas too early. It's nice feeling that.
All right, so I feel good rotation. I don't think I got too much to complain about. It could probably be freed up a little bit more, though.
Yeah, I need freed up a lot in 3 and 4.
Everything's really digging in the apex now. Under acceleration, it's turning with us. It's working great.
Pretty free in 1 and 2 though.
So the push shows up really distinctly in 3 and 4 for me, but I can feel it in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I got a lot of oversteer in 1 and 2.
So I've got a quick question for you, since you're at the garage there. The ARBs, when would you recommend using soft versus stiff?
As the car needs it. I mean, that's we haven't really messed with those yet.
Yeah, no,
But,
it's
yeah.
just a question because
Yeah. I start moving those around and see if it feels better and see what the car wants. I know California. I think I'm running the really stiff up front, and I'm running with a 13 and a P1 in the back. So
What I do for mine, I'll set them on the middle
I don't care.
of the road. So if you're on the 1375 bar, I'll put it on 5. If you're on the 2-inch bar, I'll put it on 1. It's kind of irrelevant, but I usually go 1375 in the front, 2-inch in the rear, and I'll put them in the middle of the road for latitude for adjustment later on.
See what we did.
And adjust the springs from there. And then for turning in the tightness and loosen of the car, usually a 1-click decrease on the front will loosen it up, and it'll increase the rear stripper bar in the rear to help loosen it up.
I got
and
15
that will
minutes
bring
left
your
here.
tires in really good if you're a little tight.
So, okay. All right, so I'm back in the garage, and we're looking at ride heights here still. And the change we made brought up my front. But this car is still too high in the air. So, which tells me we need bigger springs so we can lower the ride height so it's not bottoming out. So this is where you get to play the cat and mouse game for 8 hours. Is getting those springs, they need to be stiffer so the car's not bottoming out. And then we can lower the ride heights. Okay, suggestions?
Can you feel the car being disrupted when it bottoms out, or is it just an annoyance?
I think more than anything, that's where our tight off is coming from.
Okay.
So when I'm driving around the track, what I'm hearing is I'm hearing my tires scrub an awful lot, which means to me it's like rolling too much.
And we did lower the camber, so maybe that's what they were fighting.
But I can feel it in the wheel, but I can hear those tires just scrubbing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right. So we don't have the rotation we need yet.
Correct.
All right. So let's get our ride heights down. And once we get our ride heights down, that will establish our springs of where they need to be. Um, then once we get the ride height down, then, I mean, there's a lot more here to do, and you guys know. I mean, we got cross weights to adjust, nose weights to adjust, we got ARBs to adjust, a lot of rotating parts to be adjusted to address our rotation, caster, camber, all that alignment. But we really need to get this car on the ground, and this is a next gen thing, right? I mean, we don't with the other cars we didn't have to be so picky about how high the car was. But on next gen, if we don't get her down on the ground, she won't be fast.
It also seems like the updates have increased the bumps on the track, so they're really becoming part of the equation on the setup.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with the springs. Yeah, what they're doing with the spring package on this. I think Tom was talking about it just the other day. The springs don't seem right.
So when you start your setups and you're working on your springs to get your ride heights, do you pick a certain cross weight that you try to as your baseline cross weight, or do you just let it be?
The cross weight is going to be determined by what my tires are doing. So if, like, coming in right now, my right front was at 247, right rear is 235, so I got a 10 temperature split and a 97%, 99. So I know this car is too tight. Uh, we can feel it. I can see it in that right front tire. So I definitely need to get off that cross weight.
And that's why I'm asking. I'm just looking at the tire temperatures, my feel, and what I'm hearing, and it's all saying push, push, push. And to me, that's get rid of some of that cross. And I think if you get rid of some of that cross, you're going to get rid of a lot of that weight transfer, which would even out your ride heights. But I don't know. I'm trying to learn, but that's just what my logic says is knock that cross down 3-4%, and it'll balance out the car. Right now, it seems like when I go into especially Las Vegas is high G's because it's high speed into these banks, and it's just throwing all that weight over onto the right front, and it's just grabbing and wanting to push.
Right. I hear you. You're definitely not wrong. We do have an issue there. So look at my screen here, and this is the first thing I want to tackle as I'm building my setup is where that car is sitting right now, and my left front is up 0.37, and my right rear is up 0.65. That's way too high for me. I need to be down at least a quarter of an inch is what I'm looking for right here. And I'm going to get bouncing. I'm going to hit the ground with those rub blocks. I know that. But like Marty pointed out too, you can hit those rub blocks as long as the car's not shifting or jumping over like it used to when you hit the rails and it would push the car over. So when I see these numbers on my ride height, that's bad. And here's the other turn. Now the other turn, so the other turn, I like the front. That's not too bad. But look at my left rear. And so when you check this, you got to move this around a little bit and see if you're in a rut, in a bump. It's 29 to 71. So it needs to come down. So and then by adjusting your ride heights is going to determine what your spring package is going to be for your car, right? So as I look at this and I look at my right rear at 1945, that feels way too high to me. So now remember, we started with the iRacing setup, all right? So let's do this. I'm going to take this off of here. And 57.5 is way out of whack. Take my bars off here. Let's make a big difference here because I'm going to run out of time. I got 10 minutes here. I think let's see here. This needs to drop down. So this one, 1951, I'm going to drop this down to a 2000. I'll go 21. 1951. Put that back. And that's going to be okay because it's going to drop more. This one here, we're at 1600. I want the bigger split. Okay, I'm at 844. Let's drop this guy down to, let's say 13. 844. I'll go 849 on that because it's going to drop down a little bit more. Okay, that's going to make that thing squat. Now, we don't need a lot of squatting here, and I'm going to bring this one down even more. I'm at 1290. Let's go to 4,000 over to see what happens. Big swing here. Brings back to 1290. We'll go with that for now. All right, so we know that. What does that do to my cross? 57.6. So let's also do that. Let's go ahead and loosen this peg up a little bit. I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 57, 55.8. There you go. That should put us back in line. Reattach our bars. I'll save this and share it, guys. You don't have to do all this stuff here. There's a 16.2. 14's okay. Check the front again. 10.8. We're at 56.1. There you go. We dropped the snot out of that, didn't we? I'm going to save this as 1.8. It's shared. It's up there. So that either is going to work really good or it's going to be a fiasco. I bet you we went and got our Texas set up. It probably worked pretty good here. I got a lot of bang on that turn back there. Turn 1. So one of these corners is too low. It's probably going to be the left rear because we dropped it so much of that spring.
Definitely got rotation off in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's dragging though. It's definitely pushing the car out. You can feel it dragging an anchor. And
Yes, it is.
Apex in 3. But that's okay. We know how low we can go now. Now I have to go back up a little bit.
The baseline.
Yeah, so that spring in that corner, which everyone's dragging, and we'll find out in a minute, that spring is too soft.
Because when you hit the bumps, you're bottoming out, right?
Right. And even as much we lowered that cross weight, it still feels tight.
But that could be a cause from the bottoming out, right?
No, I don't think so. Probably the change in the spring split. All right, I'm in the garage. All right, it's on corner entry. This is.
My
Yeah,
biggest drag is
definitely
left
bumping
rear.
out.
Turn 1, left rear.
Oops. Dang, I keep doing that.
Yeah, mine's entry of turn 1.
Well, what's funny is that all the left front, right front, and left rear, all three are dragging at the same time in turn 1, so it's really had a major effect, I think, on it. A little bit of dragging on all three corners is really upsetting the car. Usually there'll be negative, different locations on the track.
So for mine, left front, left rear are all the same, minus 0.05, and the same spot. Right rear is just a little bit above at 0.02 positive.
And you're also corner entry into 1, right?
My lowest point. Yeah.
And for me, my right rear is exiting corner 1. It's hitting there. But for entry, the left rear is hitting harder. But all three everything can go up a little bit, it looks like.
That's what I'd say is it just all needs to go back up 3 or 4 clicks. Even it out, because the heights are, the balance is fine now.
Yeah, I'd even say 2 clicks all the way around will make a difference.
Sure,
yeah.
All right, let's do that.
But I still got to push, which is the rotation, which is our spring split somewhere, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
But the ride heights are a lot better now with what you did.
Okay, so I put everything up 2 clicks on all the ride heights. So now as we're looking at rotation, let's see here. So let's take that right front spring to 4100. Let's see what 1321. 1321. That's fine. 1325. At least I can stay there. And then I want to bring. I don't like this. I want the. I want this left rear 1300 to 1350. 907. 907. There we go. All right. Then I also bring this back to close to 0. All right. Now this nose weight, I want to bring this down a little bit more too. I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm at 51. Let's go to 50.8 on the nose weight. Check the crossbar to be plus as close to, where am I at here? Okay. I'm going to save as. There's 1.9. All right, this is our last run, and I got to cut this off. Go see what you get. Our 1 hour is just about up. It is up. I got to go. I got places to be. So it's all about finding the spring combination and the rotation combination in your setup. I mean, what I'm doing here is not rocket science, and I'm no guru.
a sports car now, isn't it? A little more snappy, lively.
That thing, if you can set it 1 and 2, it just flies.
I was slow as hell. I was slower. But it works for them. So that's fine. Okay, I'm back in the garage. Let's see here. Boom. Okay, so there's here some better ride height numbers. My left rear, oh yeah, left rear. That one hit a hole or a divot somewhere in that corner. Went to a negative -07. But but overall, I think it should be just fine right there. Okay. All right, I got to wrap this up. It's been our hour. Let's see. We got 2 weeks for this before we need this set up. Yeah, this week is California, and so we need it done by next weekend. So, um, so either we can go ahead and just take off from here and finish up our own setups, or we can do another one maybe Wednesday night, 6 o'clock West Coast.
Yeah, if I see any hosted sessions, I would like to join in those and do some testing there and see how we compare with other people and make changes as we go.
Yeah, let's just go on with it. Go ahead and finish up your setups, and we can play with them together in a group sessions and see what everybody's developed and see how we can make it better individually. And we'll bring our ideas together. Yeah, let's do that.
We're all at a good base right now, I think, to run with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the hardest part of the setup is getting the rotation and your springs figured out. Once you get that, then you can go through and do the other stuff. Let me show you something real quick on Discord.
Do you think that the weather's changed? Because my fastest was still on the 1.7.
No, the weather's not affecting you. It's the setup that's affecting you. So as we make some of these changes, your setup can get slower until you bring it all together.
Right.
Tom, where is that suspension shock thing? I always lose it.
You got to do the pull down track views or suspension. Yeah.
Here it is. This is it. Okay, this screen here, track views. When you look at your shocks, get off the histogram. That's garbage. But look at this one right here. So let me go with my left front shock. Okay.
This is where the bumps are, correct?
No, this is your shock action. This is your shocks going up and down. So yeah, I guess they could be bumps in the track. Yeah. So what you're looking for here is I got this big red one up here, 7.79. That tells you that my high speed slope is too low and didn't catch that. Even though it's just a short little bump, I want to increase my high speed slope to recover that. And then the other one is the blue, right, Tom? Blue is low. So if you got a high blue, then you want to increase your high speed compression slope. And then you don't want the thing all green. If it's all green, then your shocks are doing nothing. See these light colored ones right in here? That's where the shock grabbed that bump and fixed it. All right, there's a little bit there's a little bump right there. But that's your shock grabbing that and fixing it, grabbing it and fixing it. If it's all green, your shocks are probably too tight. All right, I'm gonna leave you with that screen. Any questions before we take off?
Nope.
Okay, 1.9. We're done, guys. Have a good day. I gotta take off. I gotta drive somewhere for 2 hours.
Make sure everybody saves this file. Save it.
Yeah, this should be
Right.
1.9.
Take care later, guys.
All right, catch you later.